What's going on, Island Hoppers? Today we are coming to you from New York City. We're going to do a things to do, and yes, that's going to include some free activities. Let's do it. New York City is the largest city in the United States with a population well over 15 million in the metro area. And first up here is Central Park. Located right in the heart of Manhattan, it is 843 acres and considered one of the largest urban parks in the world. Originally established for the public in 1857, to this day, people come to Central Park to escape the urban sprawl and the hustle and bustle of downtown Manhattan. There are several architectural and artistic landmarks such as Bethesda Terrace and Fountain, the Central Park Zoo, Strawberry Fields, a memorial to John Lennon, and so much more. Next up, we have the iconic Statue of Liberty here on Liberty Island. It is one of the most recognizable symbols in the United States. It was a gift from the people of France in October of 1886. You can actually get a ferry out to the island from Manhattan for around $19. Just go online and you can find the cruises. While here, you will find a museum, and if you want, you can actually go to the top where the crown is of this 305-foot or 93-meter statue and get some great views overlooking the harbor here. And right next door to the Statue of Liberty is Ellis Island, where you can actually check out the history here. From 1892 to 1954, it served as the primary immigration inspection station for millions of immigrants coming into the United States from all around Europe and other parts of the world. While in Lower Manhattan, you can actually check out the Battery. Now, while here at the Battery in this 25-acre park at the southern tip of Manhattan, which actually was a fortification during the early days of New Amsterdam, the Dutch colony settlement that later became New York City. Now we have Fifth Avenue, which is one of the most famous streets in New York. It runs north to south through Manhattan, starting at Washington Square Park in Greenwich Village and extending all the way up to Harlem. Fifth Avenue is home to the high-end shopping district, particularly in the area between 49th Street and 60th Street, known as Billionaires Row. You will find luxury brands like Tiffany, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Cartier, and so much more right here on Saks Fifth Avenue. Is also a famous department store. Fifth Avenue is very close to Central Park, so add that to the list. Next up is Wall Street. Now, this is closer to Lower Manhattan and the Brooklyn Bridge area. You will find the Raging Bull, which signifies the bull market. But down on Wall Street, you can see the vibes that go down here on one of the most powerful financial districts in the world. From Wall Street, just down the road, you can check out the Oculus Mall area, which is actually near the Freedom Tower and World Trade Center, which we will be talking about later. But check out the inside of the Oculus, really a photographic, interesting interior. It has a white steel and glass exterior that is characterized as a cathedral-like atrium that rises approximately 160 feet tall. Right down the way is the Freedom Tower, which is officially known as One World Trade Center. It's a prominent skyscraper located here in Lower Manhattan. It is located on the same site as the Twin Towers were. The tower itself is 1,776 feet tall. You can also go to the top of the Freedom Tower. Located right in Midtown Manhattan, we have the Times Square. From West 42nd Street to West 47th Street, Times Square is renowned for its bright neon billboards, bustling atmosphere, probably one of the most iconic squares in all of the world. Considered one of the world's busiest pedestrian intersections, the crossroads of the world, as some people would refer to it. This is a must-see, especially at nighttime while in New York City. Next up is Brooklyn Bridge. This iconic suspension bridge spans from East River, connecting the boroughs of Manhattan and Brooklyn in New York City. It's one of the oldest and most recognizable landmarks in the city and has become a symbol of engineering prowess and architectural beauty. It began construction in 1869. Try and cross this bridge while in New York City. You can either drive across it or walk across it. Next up is a helicopter tour of Manhattan. So you will see the Freedom Tower, the Rockefeller Center, Central Park, all from the air, which is one of the most panoramic city skylines anywhere else in the world. Typically, the helicopter port is located in Midtown, near Wall Street or 34th Street, so look around that area. While in New York City, do be sure to check out the museums, including the Metropolitan Museum of Art, also known as the Met. Then there's the Museum of Modern Art, known as MoMA, where they have the Picasso, Van Gogh, and several other pieces. Then you have the American Museum of Natural History. You also have the Whitney Museum of American Art, the American Museum of New York, and the Brooklyn Museum. And for those of you who are into military history, I would highly recommend checking out the old aircraft carrier from World War II known as the Intrepid. Check this bad boy out. And believe it or not, a thing to do is ride in one of these yellow cabs that you've seen in so many different movies. Maybe you've seen them in Home Alone or other movies about New York City, but riding in a cab or hailing a cab here in New York is something that you can say you've done, along with checking out a Broadway show. So take that cab to Broadway and check out a show like The Phantom of the Opera. They have the Lion King show. They have Chicago. So many different shows, so try to check one out. Look at the Aladdin show right here also. And right across the street from Rockefeller Plaza is Radio City Music Hall. So you can easily do both in one day. You can go to Broadway and then head over to Rockefeller Center. This is a famous complex of buildings located in Midtown Manhattan, in the area that spans between 48th Street and 51st Street, between 5th and 6th Avenue. Here at the Rockefeller Plaza, you can find shopping and dining, as well as the Channel Gardens. They also have the NBC Studios, where Jimmy Fallon has his show, Saturday Night Live also. In the wintertime, they erect a large Christmas tree and an ice rink, so check it out. Now, you can also go to the observation deck at the top. This is known as the Top of the Rock. I would say this is one of the best views of downtown Manhattan or the surrounding areas of Midtown to Lower Manhattan that you will see anywhere else. So definitely try to get up here. Tickets range between $30 and $40 depending on if you're a kid or an adult, and try to get here during sunset, I would say. And since we're in the mood for checking out high observation decks, let's go up to the 102nd floor of the Empire State Building, known as the Top Deck. Tickets here are around $35 to $45 per person. It is one of the oldest skyscrapers in the world, built in 1931, standing at an elevation of 1,400 feet. The main observation deck is located on the 86th floor, but if you wanted to go to the top deck, that's on the 102nd floor. Next up is walk around the High Line Park. This here is a historic elevated railway track that was transformed into a vibrant green space stretching for about 1.45 miles on Manhattan's west side. So it's considered an elevated walkway and park with trees and other landscape gardens. The actual freight line operated from 1930s to 1980 and then was repurposed in 2009 into this public park. Now let's talk about sporting events. So you have the New York Jets and Giants, they play at MetLife. Then you have the New York Yankees and the Mets, two different stadiums for that. You also have the New York Knicks playing at Madison Square Garden and the Brooklyn Nets playing at Barclays Center. So sporting events, a big thing to do while in New York. They also have hockey here. Just keep in mind that winter is football and basketball and summer is baseball, with hockey also being in the winter. Now we're over to Hudson Yards on the west side of Manhattan. Here you're going to have a variety of different malls, shopping centers, and also The Edge, another popular place to check out. This is also an observation deck. Tickets range between $38 and $45. Try to book ahead of time if you can. But getting a view looking towards the Freedom Tower is what you're going to get here. This is also one of the most impressive observation decks I've ever seen. Right next to the Edge is going to be the honeycomb-shaped architectural structure known as the Vessel. It used to be open to where you could walk around, but they've since closed it. There is a discussion going on to reopen it. And for those of you looking for an exciting ride on an escalator, check out the 34th Street escalator, one of the longest in the world. Right here in Hudson Yard, connected to the subway. That's another thing you can do while you're in New York City, is ride this subway all around to the 5 boroughs, one of the oldest subway networks in the world. Dating all the way back to 1904, there are 24 different lines that operate 24/7, taking you to any one of the 5 boroughs: Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Bronx. All right, here we are, Brighton Beach. You look directly that way, you have Coney Island. Coney Island is a famous neighborhood and entertainment destination located in the southwestern part of Brooklyn. It's known for its amusement parks, boardwalks, beautiful beaches, and rich history. While here, you can try a Coney Island hot dog or just walk around Luna Park. You can easily ride the subway to Coney Island or just fetch a Uber or taxi to get here, but certainly a place you want to check out in the summertime. Now, from Brooklyn out here in Coney Island, you can easily head out to Queens where you can do a spa day. So we're trying out the hot spa here. This one here is actually known as the Spa Castle, and they do have a few different spa experiences across New York City, so a spa day is something you can consider. Next up, let's talk about New York City food, one of the most iconic destinations for foodies around the world. You can never go wrong with burger and fries or the variety of different ethnic cuisines that they have, everything from Indian to Middle Eastern. Here you have New York style pizza, which is a thin crust pizza. You also have the classic slice, which is very common and foldable, bagels, hot dogs, deli sandwiches, street food, cheesecake. So when you come down to Coney Island, I highly recommend this place called Ruby's. They hook you up with a nice Coney Island hot dog right here. Plenty of different Italian restaurants also. Now, street food vendors are very popular. You'll see them all across the city. Try to eat some street food while you're in New York City. This here is an example of all the food trucks. You can see they got the hot dogs, the Philly cheese, and if you look over here, they have the pretzels. Another area you can explore is going to be the South Street Seaport, right along the East River waterfront, with a rich maritime history here, historic buildings, Pier 17, South Street Seaport Museum, and the Fulton Stall Market. And if you're looking for some religious sites, one of the best cathedrals you can find is the St. Patrick's Cathedral, located in Midtown near Rockefeller Center. And another form of great transportation is taking a ferry. You can easily get from the Lower East Side to Jersey City by ferry for a low cost. If you do it at sunset, that might just be your best option. You'll get a great view at sunset of Lower Manhattan. For those of you who visit the Northeast a lot, you know that trains are popular out here, and Union Station is one of the best train stations in the United States. You can easily get up towards New England and Boston from here, or head down to Washington, D.C. Definitely try to check out Union Station while in New York. For those of you looking to do a stroll around a botanical garden, I recommend checking out the Queens Botanical Garden, obviously out here in Queens. All right, everybody, that's going to conclude this episode of Island Hopper TV from New York City, one of the best cities in the world for sure. So if you guys enjoyed this one, please do watch some more of our other videos. I will put links below in the description to Boston and Chicago, and put links here at the end. Thank you for liking the video and subscribing to the channel.